The books of the Bible are some of the most influential and important writings in human history. They provide spiritual guidance, moral principles, and a window into the past. But have you ever wondered how these books were chosen and what criteria were used to determine which writings made the cut? Today, we will delve into the fascinating history of how the books of the Bible were chosen. The process of selecting which books would make up the Bible was a lengthy and complex one. The earliest Christian communities relied on oral traditions and letters from apostles to spread the teachings of Jesus Christ. It wasn't until the 2nd century AD that the first written Gospels began to circulate. Even then, there was no standard set of books that were universally accepted as authoritative. In the early years of Christianity, there were many different writings that claimed to be inspired by God. These included letters from apostles, accounts of Jesus' life, and other religious texts. Over time, however, certain writings began to gain more widespread acceptance than others. These books were generally considered to be more reliable, more consistent with Christian teachings, and more widely used by the early Christian communities. One of the key factors in determining which books would make up the Bible was their connection to the apostles. The apostles were considered to be the authoritative sources of Christian teaching, so books that were written by or attributed to them were given greater weight. For example, the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were all believed to have been written by apostles or close associates of apostles. Another important criterion was the book's consistency with Christian teachings. Books that were in line with the beliefs and practices of early Christian communities were more likely to be accepted. For example, the epistles of Paul, letters written by the Apostle Paul to various Christian communities, were widely accepted because they provided guidance on how to live a Christian life. As Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire, different communities had different sets of books that they considered authoritative. Some communities used books that were later excluded from the Bible, such as the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of Peter, while others rejected books that eventually made it into the Bible, such as the Book of Revelation. It wasn't until the 4th century AD that a formal canon, or set of books, was established by the Christian Church. The Council of Carthage, held in AD 397, was one of the key events in the establishment of the Christian canon. At this council, church leaders discussed which books should be included in the Bible and which should be excluded. The resulting canon included 27 books in the New Testament and 39 books in the Old Testament, 46 books for Catholicism, and 66 for Protestants. These books were deemed to be divinely inspired and were considered to be the authoritative source of Christian teaching. In conclusion, the process of selecting which books would make up the Bible was a long and complex one. The early Christian communities relied on a variety of writings to spread their teachings, but over time certain books began to gain greater acceptance. Criteria such as the book's connection to the apostles and its consistency with Christian teachings were used to determine which books were authoritative. Ultimately, the establishment of a formal canon in the 4th century AD helped to solidify the books that are now considered to be the Bible.